Pentacle, Chapter 10, The Moon. Let's keep the tarot card reading, and I don't care about my future. I am more interested in having you interpret this reoccurring dream, said Malik, leaning back on the couch. It is not so much a dream, but a nightmare. I'm in a bed, and whenever I try to get up, the world spins around me, and this dizziness makes it impossible for me to get up, and I am completely paralyzed. It is then when I feel something moving underneath the bedsheets, and when the creature rises out of the bedsheets, it is composed of hands and mouth, and the creature begins to bite and scratch at me, and I try to scream for help, but the mouths of the creatures laugh at me. Is the laughter male or female? Asked Irina, leaning forward. They are all female, two female voices, though one is a little bit more masculine, almost as if it is a guy trying to sound feminine, said Malik as a cold sweat dripped down his spine. Can you identify the voices if you hear them again? Insisted Irina. Can't say. I had this nightmare years ago, and the more time that passes, the more details I forget, said Malik. What happened afterwards? Do you stay in bed till the bitter end? I pray until my strength returns, and I spend the rest of the dream running away, said Malik. Irina was quiet for some time, and at the end of her long pause, she came to the conclusion that she was surrounded by fools. She sighed wearily before giving the Dream Dictionary interpretation of everything that Malik had said, and she had a sneaky suspicion that the nightmare was truly a repressed memory fighting to break free. Midnight came and the children were put to bed, and Rosanna was disappointed that Kyle and Abigail completely ignored each other, and Malik started the arduous process of cleaning up the house. And he collected all the bottles and cans, and once they were empty and clean, he took them outside to recycle them, and he felt a metal cylinder pressing it up against his kidney, and a hand caught over his mouth. An unfamiliar voice said, "If you scream, I'll kill you, not if you understand." Malik nodded to show that he understood his predicament. The intruder guided Malik away from the house towards a dark, overgrown area, and there was an underdeveloped block of neighborhood that was always bathed in darkness, and it was commonly used to park cars whenever there was a big party. Malik was forced to enter a white van, and he sat beside the stranger while he waited for the end to come. "If you're going to kill me, can you please shoot me in the head? I suffered a lot in life, and I would prefer to go quietly into the night," said Malik, trembling like a leaf. "Why aren't you begging for your life?" protested the stranger angrily. "Am I supposed to?" asked Malik. "I could beg for your life if it truly was going to change my fate. This isn't how I imagined it. And do you even know why I want you dead?" protested the stranger. "Not really, though. I did sleep with a lot of women, and if I broke your sister's heart, there's no need to kill me over. She can do better." "She can do much better," said Malik, laughing. The stranger grabbed the wrench and he stroked Malik's arm, and Malik stopped laughing, and he said, crying, "Please, if you're going to kill me, just get it over with already, and if you desire something else from me, know that I will fight you back, no matter how many bullet holes you put through my gut, and I would rather die than go through that again." No, why do you have to tell me that? And how can you not know what you did?" said the stranger, punching the steering wheel in fury. And he turned on the car in order to drive away with his victim, and he needed to build up his courage to kill Malik in order to get his revenge. When he turned on the gas light, the stranger screamed when an old hag dressed in white appeared out of nowhere. Irina was walking back to her car with a bag filled with leftovers when the light blinded her, and she studied the situation with her piercing blue eyes. She reached into her pocket, and the stranger pointed the gun at her. "I am just reaching for my tarot card," said Irina, bringing out her deck of cards. "I am going to give you a psychic reading." "Move, hag, before I run you over," yelled the stranger with a gun, and he turned on the car and he attempted to drive past Carina. He honked his horn in order to command Irina to move, and the hag jumped on top of the car and she pressed her tarot card deck against the windshield wiper. Irina drew the first card and she yelled at the top of her lungs, "The magician card tells me that you're completely out of touch with reality. The two of swords tells me that you're currently struggling with two difficult choices, and neither option seems like the right answer. You can either kill Malik and live the rest of your life with your hands tainted with blood, or you can forgive his life and then spend the rest of your life with a murderous rage." The gunner in Troll lowered his gun and he returned to pointing it at Malik. Irina continued with her psychic reading while stalling for time. Irina drew the three of cups, and she brought the card closer to the gunman for him to look at. The gunman lowered the window ever so slightly in order to look at the tarot card from up close. This card reveals to me your distant past. You are the type of man that gives beyond his means, and the Pentacle card tells me that, said Irina, trying to make up something, and she saw a man starting to approach. And Irina said louder, the person you used to be will not hold an innocent man at gunpoint. Malik is not innocent, yelled the gunman. He killed my son. Sir, you must have me mistaken for someone else, retorted Malik. I would have remembered taking someone's life. You son of a bitch, yelled the gunman, pointing the gun to Malik's head. And not remembering doesn't excuse what you did. That's debatable, said Malik, but you're the man holding the loaded gun, the loaded weapon, and your might makes you right. Wait, don't shoot him. Don't you want to see the fifth card? This card will show you the best possible outcome, said Irina, holding up a tarot card. Freeze! Drop your weapon, yelled Kain, coming out of the shadows. I have a hostage, yelled the gunman, pointing the gun to Malik's head. I'm in control. Don't make this any harder on yourself. Drop the weapon, insisted Kain, trying to open the driver's door. Sir, you're under arrest, and you have the right to remain silent. Fuck you, pig, said the gunman, pointing his gun at Kain. And before he pulled the trigger, Kain shot a single bullet that pierced through the hand of the criminal, making him drop the gun. The gunman screamed in agony, and Kain broke the window with the backside of his gun, and he was able to open the driver's seat. The two men got into a scuffle, with the attacker using the wrench as a blunt weapon, and Kain dashed around the wrench before delivering a dizzy blow to the enemy's nose, and pulled the gunman out of the car. And Kain used his belt as a makeshift handcuff, and Irina breathed a sigh of relief, and she looked at the fifth card that she wanted to show the armed gunman. The fifth card was justice, while the 10th card was death. Of his two possible futures, the gunman had locked out. So what that shows is that his two possible fates, he could have either gotten arrested, or he could have gotten killed by Kain for holding his friend like hostage and stuff. You know, he locked out that he got arrested and not shot. Of the two possible futures the gunman had locked out, the police arrived and they took the would-be assassin away. The victim and the witnesses gave their testimony, and when everything was done, Irina breathed in a sigh of relief, and she drove back home. She took a shield pill for her nerves, and she slept like a little baby. Meanwhile, Rosanna was wondering why her son was taking forever to throw away the garbage. And she let out a piercing scream when Malik returned home covered in another person's blood. And Kain told Rosanna what happens. My instinct told me that the man hounding your son was still out there, and that is why I have been keeping an eye on Malik, said Kain stoically. Thank you so much, Kain, said Rosanna with tears rolling down her cheeks. I guess I owe you my life, said Malik wearily. Thank you, Kain. I wanted to ask you about, started saying Kain. Tomorrow, Kain, interrupted Rosanna, pushing her son towards his bedroom. Malik went to the bathroom and he stripped down and he showered the blood that had fallen on his face. Rosanna noticed new bruises on her son's arm, and she picked up the bloody outfit to throw it into the garbage can. And she got halfway to the garbage can when she grew paranoid, and she returned to the house to fetch her revolver. With his gun at her side, she felt safe enough to throw away the dirty outfit. And while she showered, Malik pondered what he had done to deserve this, and at times like this it felt like he was indeed cursed. And Malik sat on the cold marble floor to cry. The following day came, and the experience made Malik afraid of living by himself, and Rosanna was happy that her son was still living under her roof, but she was angry at how God had her prayers answered. And it was also the matter of discovering why the man wanted to kill her son. Rosanna didn't want to believe that Malik had killed anyone, but someone doesn't seek out revenge without a proper reason. Rosanna started her morning by driving her daughter to school and her son Malik to work, and from there she went to the police station. After fetching the outfit that she had thoughtlessly thrown away. When she arrived, Kain was interviewing Balthazar with Bruno's help, and Kain smiling said, Perfect timing, Rosanna. Balthazar, be a dear and tell Rosanna about how Malik saved your life. Balthazar sighed wearily, and it had been emotionally exhausting to tell his story, and now he had to repeat it again. Balthazar had gesticulated with Bruno acting as his mouthpiece. A few months ago, my cousin Linda caught me wearing one of her dresses, and she pressured me into going to one of her stag parties while dressed as a woman. And a drunk guy took notice of me, and he pulled me to one of the bedrooms. And I resisted as best I could for minutes that felt like an eternity. And when our whole scene lost, Malik rescued me, and I went with Malik and my cousin to the police department, and we made a report. And when the police came for my assailant, they found him dead with his skull split open, and he was still alive. He was still alive the last time we saw him, and according to the forensic analyst, my attacker slipped and cracked his skull against the table, and his death was labeled an accident. Balthazar came the phone number of the detective that had handled the case, and the London detective first came all of the pertinent information regarding him, and in reality the man that had attacked Balthazar was killed by the arresting officer for resisting, and his death was labeled an accident to cover up this crime, and with nobody to blame for his son's death, the father came to the conclusion that Malik had murdered his son while stopping the assault. And the verdict came to an end and came with a sigh of relief, and he had done something that his co-workers considered actual police work. And Kain drove to Rosanna's house to inform her of the process of the investigation, and he didn't like the idea of Rosanna suspecting that her son had murdered someone. Rosanna welcomed Kain happily, and she didn't have enough words to express how grateful she was, and Grandfather Lorraine was doubly grateful. And in the living room, Malik was playing Mario Kart with his little sister Ariel, and on the lazy boy there was Balthazar mindlessly drawing. And Kain sat down beside Malik while he waited for Rosanna to bring refreshment. "How is school, Ariel?" asked Kain, breaking the silence. "How is work? Did you shoot someone today?" asked Ariel. "I don't feel comfortable talking about work with you," said Kain. "And I don't like talking about school," retorted Ariel. "Try again, and this time don't suggest a topic that gives me bad flashbacks." "Did you like playing with the twins?" asked Kain. "Uncle Gan wanted to arrange another play date." "I look forward to it," said Ariel, giving an exaggerated fake smile. "You are allowed to say no, Ariel," said Malik. "I didn't mind playing with the twins. It is just that they are 4 years younger than me, and energy-wise I am like a sloth, and they are hummingbirds," said Ariel, "and they just can't sit still, and I tried playing board games with them, but we were never able to finish a single game, so I brought out my coloring pencils, and that activity only kept them busy for 10 minutes. And then Anna discovered the keyboard I hid under my bed, and they played it terribly till lunchtime, and I tried to get them to watch a movie with me, but they got bored after 5 minutes. The twins like to play dress up, and if you give them a makeup kit, they can easily sit still for hours while they ruin your complexion," said Kain. "Speaking of dress up, Malik, did you know that Balthazar was the girl from the party?" "What girl from what party?" asked Malik, becoming nervous. Balthazar scribbled on his notepad. "I was the ginger girl you saved from that hulking brute." Malik read the note and he said, smiling warmly, Oh, so you're that girl. That explains why you're stalking me. And here I thought you were simply enamored by my good looks." "You're not as pretty as you think you are, big brother, and if it wasn't for your green eyes, your face would be considered quite ordinary," remarked Ariel after coming in last in Mario Kart. "So tell me, Balthazar, what is your plan for the future?" asked Malik. "Are you going to stalk me for the rest of your life?" "Sorry, Balthazar. I have some gay friends," said Kain. "I could arrange a blind date." Balthazar shook his head in response. "Listen, you shouldn't obsess over me just because I saved you scrawny behind," protested Malik. "And Kain recently saved my life, and you do not see me swooning over him. Though I am grateful, so very grateful, and whatever you need, Kain, I am your man, and your wish is my command and all that nonsense, at least until the life debt is repaid." "Your gratitude is all the recompense I need," said Kain dryly. The conversation was interrupted by Rosanna entering with drinks, and the friends knocked a bit before the conversation resumed. "And when my brother broke up with Carina, why did you become a stranger?" asked Ariel. "I was far too busy consoling Carina to bother about the man that broke her heart," said Kain. "You always did like Carina," said Malik dryly. "And I could tell from the moment I introduced the two. So tell me, Kain, why didn't you two stay together?" "We were never together in the traditional sense. Yes, we would go out together, we partied together, and we did many things as a couple, but as soon as someone more interesting would show up, she would leave me," said Kain. "Before Carina started dating Bruno, she actually wanted to marry me." And you said no, said Malik. Good, so you're not a complete fool after all. I didn't say no. I told her that I would marry her if she would stay with me for 1 year, said Kain. I had no guarantee that she wouldn't divorce me after a 1-week marriage, and the longest that she has ever exclusively dated me has only been 2 months. And of course she leaves me and she feels guilty, and her guilt compels her to find me a date, and I started dating Eugenia because Carina pressured me into it. And she doesn't like to see me single when she has someone of her own. You haven't changed one bit, Kain, said Malik, laughing. You are allowed to say no, repeated Ariel. Balthazar, give us your opinion on this matter, said Malik, stretching himself on the sofa till he was able to poke Balthazar's knee with his feet. It doesn't do well to be such a people pleaser, wrote Balthazar. If a person doesn't like you, nothing you do will be able to change her opinion of you. So you're not completely delusional after all. So Kain, tell me, do you like Eugenia? Asked Ariel, switching to gossip mode. Like isn't strong enough to describe what I feel for Eugenia, said Kain, sighing like a little schoolgirl, and he added after sighing again. If it was up to me, I would be spending all my free time with her, but Eugenia wants to keep things casual, and I can only visit her when she feels like it, but when I want a better company, she suddenly has to go on a week-long business trip with her father. She has become so distant ever since I stupidly asked her to move in with me. Sounds like my type of woman, said Malik. It is nice that you get a break from Eugenia every once in a while. If you don't want her, I want her. Ha ha ha, very funny, Malik, protested Kain. And how long have you been dating Eugenia? A few months? It was way too soon for you to be asking her to move in with you, said Ariel, laughing. I'm a kid and even I know that. Eugenia lives in a castle, said Malik, and there's no way she would want to move into the dump you call home. Maybe she thought you wanted to move into her castle in order to mooch from her, suggested Ariel. Speaking of moocher, is this mute guy like a new roomie? And when are you going to go home, Balthazar? I don't know, wrote Balthazar. I am still trying to figure out my life. And the things that were important to me before no longer matter. I know the feeling, but you can't let one bad experience distract you from your responsibilities. As a son, you owe it to your parents not to be a burden, and you need to stop stalking me and go back to school, said Malik, or get a job if you no longer want to continue with your education. That is easier said than done, wrote Balthazar. And have you even told your sister what happened to you? Asked Malik. I tried, but it is difficult to talk about, wrote Balthazar. I can talk about it with my cousin, and it is enough for one person to know. Thus a simple gossip for an hour, and Kain tested Jack to see if he was home. As Jack was hanging out with his sponsor, Kain decided to accept Rosanna's dinner invitation. He showered in Malik's bathroom, and he changed out of his work attire. And Kain had a duffel bag in his car just in case Eugenia invited him to spend the night. And the night progressed peacefully in the company of old friends. And Kain felt so welcome that he decided to spend the night. And when it came time for bed, there was a momentary tension due to the current sleeping arrangement. Kain, tonight you sleep in the guest room, said Rosanna, and Balthazar, you go sleep on the sofa bed. Balthazar was here first, said Malik, being a contrarian. If Kain needs a bed, I will happily give him mine. This is my house, my rules, and I said that Balthazar sleeps in the couch, insisted Rosanna. You see, Mother, this is why I don't want to live with you anymore. You never take my wishes into consideration, and if you want me to live here permanently, you have to respect the fact that I am an adult, and I'm not going to allow you to boss me around anymore, said Malik dryly. I am your mother, Malik. And I don't care how old you are, and it is my right to tell you what to do, yelled Rosanna. I am not father, and why are you always looking for an excuse to argue with me? Asked Mother. And why does everything have to be done your way? And are you ever going to stop, Mother, or must I be spewing blood out of my mouth for you to finally stop treating me like your puppet? Your mother is too old to change, said Kain equanimously. Just accept her for who she is. That is easy for you to say. You don't have to put up with her, said Malik, raising his voice. You're going to wake up your sister, hissed Rosanna. I'm okay, said Ariel, coming into the living room. I am still awake, and I was warning you, Mommy. I am warning you, Mommy. If Malik leaves, I will leave you too as soon as I turn 18. And you already drove Daddy away. And if you don't start being nice, you're gonna end up miserable and alone. I wasn't trying to be mean to your brother. He's just hypersensitive because of everything that he went through, reasoned Rosanna. And all the more reason to give him what he wants, said Lorraine, coming out of his bedroom. Rosanna, if Malik wants to sleep in the sofa, that is his business. And Malik, you don't need to throw a tantrum over something so stupid as bedding arrangement. I'm sorry for waking you up, Grandpa, said Malik meekly. At my age, all I do is toss and turn in bed while I rest my eyes, said Lorraine, stating a fact. In the end, nobody slept in the sofa, and Malik and Kain shared the same bed as they used to do when they were wee small children. And Malik brought out his rosary, and he prayed in silence for half an hour, and once the task was done, Malik went to bed, and Kain pushed himself to the edge of the bed while Malik placed a pillow between the two to create a physical barrier. The two stared at the roof for some time, and Kain eventually broke the silence. Why didn't you ever ask me to be your friend? Asked Kain. Is that a question required for friendship to exist? Asked Malik. I guess not, said Kain, smiling shyly, but I'm an idiot that needs everything spelled out for him. Malik said nothing. Kain spoke again. Malik, when I stopped visiting because of Carina, why didn't you try to salvage our friendship? Why didn't you try to make me understand why you cheated on Carina? I was going through a tough time, and I didn't have the energy to explain myself to a self-centered asshole who abandoned me when I needed a friend the most, said Malik bitterly. I guess I am just the same as my father, and he too abandoned me when I needed him the most, and I am sorry I wasn't there for you, Malik, said Kain, turning around to face his childhood friend. Don't worry about it, said Malik, turning to face Kain. We all have our own crosses to bear. I read the testimony given by the man who tried to kill you. And were you truly misused, or do you simply just imply that in order to get that criminal not to shoot you? Asked Kain. An awkward silence reigned between the two, and Malik eventually said, if a man forces himself on a drugged woman, it is called a violation. If the woman forces himself upon a drugged man, it is called seduction. So those women harm you, Malik? Asked Kain, turning pale. And why didn't you tell us the truth? The truth didn't matter to anyone back then, and you saw a blurry photos of three women on top of me, so you naturally assumed I cheated on Carina, said Malik. And even the person who took the photos didn't see anything wrong with what was happening to me. And women get away with doing whatever they want to men because they are always the victim, and men are always the bad guys in every story. And I can only take solace in the fact that there is a God out there who knows the truth, my truth, and he will give me the justice that I didn't find on this earth. Alright, that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye and God bless.